Back in 2017, when Gotham was announced for its season 5, and it was also announced that that would be the last season of the show, I decided to binge watch season 1 and 4, so when season 5 comes out, I'll be ready to watch it. And I loved the show back then, so during quarantine, I decided to rewatch Gotham, and loved it even more this time round. So today, I've decided to rank 25 main and recurring characters from season 1 and 2. This list will not include characters like Jerome Valeska, Firefly, and Mr. Freeze, as they didn't play a big enough role in these 2 seasons, but I will release another video just talking about villains in the show, and they will all be included and will probably be quite high on that list. In my last video, which was an update, I spoke about wanting to start a new series revolving around the news in the world of movies and TV shows. That will not start this Monday, that will start a week on Monday, which is the date of 18th of May. Okay, now to get on with the list. In 25th is the assistant to Hugo Strange in Indian Hill in Arkham Asylum, Ethel Peabody. This character is played by Tonya Pinkins, who does a great job, but in the grand scheme of things, this character really isn't important and doesn't have any impact on the plot of the show. She is only there to interact with Hugo Strange in scenes in Arkham Asylum. In 24th is the partner of Renee Montoya, Crispus Allen. This character is played by Andrew Stewart Jones, who does a good job, and he looks into Cobblepot's apparent death, but after Jim is found not guilty, he works with him and then saves Jim from Victor Zsasz. And then he just disappears before season 2, and we don't hear about him again. He's this low because he doesn't really need to be there. At least his partner Renee Montoya has a bit more to do with her story with Barbara Keene, but still it ain't much, so that's why he's this low. From now onwards, I genuinely like all these characters and they are very enjoyable. It's just some of them I like more than others. So yeah, in 23rd is Commissioner Loeb. He's acted well by Peter Scolari. He is the corrupt commissioner who is allied with Don Falcone until later in season 1 when he aligns himself with Maroni instead. Apart from the first episode of season 2, he is only referenced when Jim is in Blackgate. In the first episode of season 2, he leaves the GCPD as commissioner when Jim wants to be reinstated as detective and gets Cobblepot and Zsasz to hold him at gunpoint, so he resigns. He's this low because he's my least favourite out of the rest of the characters on this list. In 22nd is Renee Montoya. She is played by Victoria Cartagena and is literally the exact same as Crispus Allen, apart from the fact that she had a relationship with Barbara Keene and hates Jim Gordon for it. And then Barbara also cheats on Jim later in season 1 with her, but then once again, yeah, she just disappears after season 1, so that's why she's this low. She's fairly inconsequential. Oh no, number 21 is Harvey Dent. This is painful to put him this low, but he doesn't do as much as he should. He isn't used like he should be. He's a lot better in the comics and in The Dark Knight, but it's fine. Harvey's played by Nicholas D'Agosto, who is credited as a main character in season 2 despite only being in 8 of the 22 episodes. He helps out Gordon to find the Wayne killer, but he's in this position just because he isn't in as many episodes as he should be. He should have been used so much more. He's one of the only characters who are wasted in this show because normally they do such a good job, but obviously they didn't want to use Harvey Dent like they should have. Now in 20th is Sam Maroni. Maroni is played by David Zayas, and he is the Don of the Maroni crime family. He's a lot younger and more ambitious than Falcone. He controls Gotham's drug trade, unions, operations on the waterfront, and gun smuggling. Maroni gets killed in the final episode by Fish, and is a big contributor to how Oswald got to where he is in later seasons. The reason he's this low is because I would have liked to have him featured more heavily, and for him to become a main character like Falcone was in season 1. In 19th is Captain turned Commissioner Sarah Essen. She is played by Sabrina Guevara, and she is Jim and Harvey Bullock's boss. She is one of the only honest cops in the GCPD and wants to end the corruption in the department. However, she fears for her family's safety. When Loeb resigns in the first episode of season 2, she is made the new commissioner. However, in the next episode, she is killed by Jerome Valeska during the Maniacs raid of GCPD. She is this low because she is barely featured and obviously died early in season 2, so isn't there for the rest of it. Number 18 is another one that pains me to put her this low, but it's Tabitha Gallivan. Jessica Lucas does such a great job, but she is this low due to her having such a bigger role in season 3 and 4. She is Theo Galavan's loyal sister and his henchwoman. She develops a relationship with Barbara Keane and reprograms Butch Gilzean to serve Theo Galavan instead of the Penguin. Tabitha turns on Theo after the battle between Cobblepot's group and the Order of St. Dumas and starts to look out for herself. Later in season 2, she visits Butch Gilzean and becomes his partner, whilst also starting a relationship with him. When Theo Galavan returns as Azrael, and Theo remembers his mission and stabs Tabitha for turning on him, resulting in her being hospitalised. In 17th is one of my favourite characters and one of the most underrated characters in Gotham, Victor Zsasz. Anthony Carrigan is just fantastic. He is so funny. He starts season 1 as being loyal to Don Falcone, but when he retires, he becomes loyal to Penguin. He is incredibly funny when confronting Jim Gordon in season 1, and Anthony Carrigan is incredibly charismatic in the role. He also holds Loeb at gunpoint to make him resign. I think he should have been shown more, but it only referenced to him cutting Natalie into a skin a few times, and it should have been shown a lot more because that is his main thing in the comics and in the Arkham games. In 16th is Carmine Falcone. He is played by John Dooman and is the Don of the Falcone crime family. In season 1, he has this weird thing with chicken, which isn't ever really explained. He just likes holding chicken for some reason. And he only appears in season 2 once, when breaking Jim Gordon out of Blackgate. He is Fish Mooney's superior, and he has nearly the entirety of the GCPD and the Gotham City government on his payroll. His hold on Gotham City is challenged by Sal Maroni, and he retired in the season 1 finale, and he's this low due to him only having one scene in season 2. If he had had a bigger role, then he probably would have been higher up the list. In 15th is another one that pains me to do, but it's Butch Gilzean. He is played by Drew Powell and is Fish Mooney's right-hand man and mob enforcer until he's brainwashed by Victor Zsasz into obeying Oswald Cobblepot's commands. In season 2, Cobblepot chops off his left hand to infiltrate Theo Galavan's group so he would win sympathy from the Galavans. Tabitha freed Butch from Cobblepot's control, and after Galavan's death, Butch rose to power and started a relationship with Tabitha, and then Butch also kills Theo when he comes back as Azrael using an RPG. He is this slow because he isn't really in season 1 and is good in season 2 but is much better in 3 and 4. In 14th is Captain Nathaniel Barnes. He is played by Michael Chiklis and becomes police captain after Sarah Essen is murdered by Jerome Valeska. He is a strict captain that fires 6 dirty cops straight off the bat and then promotes Gordon to second in command and makes a strike team. Barnes attempts to arrest Gordon after he punches Theo Galavan in court and becomes a fugitive. Barnes says that Jim is like a son to him, but is angry at him for continuously being on crime scenes when he's meant to be a fugitive. And then Barnes is hospitalised at the end of season 2 when he is stabbed by Azrael. He is this low because he is very good in season 2 but gets a bit better in season 3. In 13th is Hugo Strange. Hugo Strange is played by B.D. Wong, and when I first watched this I wasn't a fan of the character, but when I rewatched it I am now a big fan and think it was a very good depiction of the character. He is obsessed with understanding and manipulating the human mind. He was the chief of psychiatry at Arkham Asylum and is connected to the asylum's creation and uses it for his personal experiments of patients. He is the main antagonist of the second half of season 2 due to his involvement with Indian Hill. He resurrects Theo Galavan and turns him into Azrael to have him kill Gordon. He also resurrects Fish Mooney, and at the end of season 2 he is arrested, and the reason he is not breaking into the top 10 is because he is still a tad boring at parts. In 12th is Lucius Fox. Lucius Fox is played by Chris Chalk and only appears once in season 1. However, in season 2 he is promoted to a main character. He worked for Wayne Enterprises and becomes an ally of the Waynes. He also warns Bruce that his father was a very guarded man in season 1. In season 2, Fox encounters Alfred in a bar and helps fix the computer that Alfred broke. Fox helps identify the philosopher who turns out to be Hugo Strange and who ordered the Waynes to be killed. He and Bruce are kidnapped by Hugo Strange and then are freed by Selena Kyle in season 2 after Hugo Strange uses Enigma to find out what they know. He didn't break into the top 10 because of his small role in season 1, and he still doesn't have the biggest of roles in season 2. In 11th is Lee Tompkins. She's played by Morena Baccarin, who is recurring in season 1 but is credited as a main character for season 2 onwards. In season 1 she is the physician in Arkham Asylum, then becomes the medical examiner at GCPD and enters into a relationship with Jim Gordon. She's very persistent in trying to be involved in Jim's work, which makes him uncomfortable with potentially endangering her. In season 2, she is then revealed to be pregnant, and then Jim proposes to her after Theo Gallivan's death. When Jim Gordon was incarcerated at Blackgate, he then learns that Lee lost the baby. The reason she doesn't get into the top 10 is because she has a much bigger role in future seasons. In 10th is Barbara Keane. She is played by Erin Richards, and in season 1 she is the ex-fiancée of James Gordon. At the start she argues with Jim and then leaves and has a relationship with Renee Montoya. She also befriends Selena Kyle and Ivy Pepper, and after she finds out about Jim and Lee, she has a romantic encounter with Jason Lennon, the serial killer also known as the Ogre. He made her kill her parents, and then she attempted to kill Lee and was then sent to Arkham. At the start of season 1 she's a bit boring and is really just a love interest for Jim Gordon, but we see her descent into becoming a psychopath, which culminates in her killing her parents. In season 2, she is amongst the Arkham patients that Tabitha Gallivan broke out. She then also kidnaps Jim Gordon and Lee Tompkins, and then as she is about to fall out of a window when Jim gets out, Jim holds on to her so she doesn't fall, but she purposely lets go and then falls down into a bunch of bushes where she then ends up in a coma. And then she gets transferred to the Arkham medical wing, and after Gallivan's death, Strange releases her when she wakes up, and then she moves to live with Butch and Tabitha. In 9th is Fish Mooney. In season 1, she works under Don Falcone and is the former boss of Oswald Cobblepot. She sometimes provides information for Harvey Bullock, but also she secretly plans to overthrow Falcone. She is the main antagonist of season 1. She hires a girl called Liza to infiltrate the Falcone family. Butch and Fish are taken prisoner after Falcone finds out, and then he also kills Liza by strangling her to death. She tries to leave Gotham after escaping Falcone, but is captured by the Dollmaker. She escaped with the other prisoners to return to Gotham during the Maroni-Falcone gang war. She kills Maroni by shooting him in the head in the last episode of season 1, and then she also is pushed off a cliff by Oswald and is seemingly dead. However, in season 2, she only appears in the last episode, where she is resurrected in the finale with the ability to take control of anyone she comes into contact with. She would have been higher on this list if she had appeared more in season 2. In 8th is the one that probably hurts me the most to do, because if we look at the show as a whole, all 5 seasons, he's genuinely my favourite character, but it's Enigma. Yeah, Enigma's number 8. It hurts a lot. Now, Corey Michael Smith he genuinely does some of the best acting in the show, along with Cameron Monaghan, probably as Jerome Valeska and Jeremiah Valeska. He's an awkward but intelligent man with an unrequited crush on Kristen Kringle and works at the forensic department for GCPD. He kills fellow officer Tom Doughty, which results in a second personality which becomes the Riddler. When working for the GCPD, he would ask many riddles, which is the early signs of the future Riddler that he would become. He starts a relationship with Kringle, which ends with him telling her that he killed Doughty, and he accidentally chokes her to death when she's trying to leave. His other personality then hides the remnants of her body around the GCPD for normal Ed to find when he wakes up. He finds them, and then his other personality asks him how it felt to commit a crime, to which he says beautiful, and then he begins to cut up Kristen's body. Enigma starts a friendship with Oswald after finding him half dead in the woods, and then Gordon starts to get suspicious of Ed due to Kringle's disappearance. Ed snuck a fake bomb into Gotham Museum of Art and spray paints a green question mark on the cutout painting, and then puts a bomb in a locker at Gotham train station, which Jim ends up saving everyone that's there. Enigma then frames Jim for the murder of Officer Pinkney, so he is sent to Blackgate. After Jim got out, Ed reveals himself to Jim, and Jim proves it was Ed using the help of Selena Kyle, so then Enigma is sent to Arkham Asylum. Ed tries to escape but is caught, so he is put in solitary confinement, and then he finds out about Indian Hill, and then Strange uses Ed to find out what Bruce and Lucius Fox know about Indian Hill. Then he is put back in his cell. About Enigma, it's genuinely so fun to watch his descent into becoming the psychopath that he does become, but the only reason that he is this low is because in season 1 he isn't featured as much, and he doesn't do as much as he does in season 2 and in future seasons. In 7th is Selena Kyle. She is played by Cameron Bickendova, who doesn't do the best job in the earlier episodes, but definitely in season 2 and near the end of season 1, she gets a lot better and is very good at portraying the character. Selena can be seen in the background when we see the Waynes get murdered, so she does witness that. When Selena moves into the Wayne Manor, she gets hunted by assassins with Bruce, but then she realises that they are there for her and not Bruce. Then she leaves Wayne Manor, and then she and Ivy Pepper stay at Jim's house when Barbara is staying with Renee Montoya and Jim is staying with Lee. She then tells Bruce that she lied and didn't actually see who killed his parents. Then she visits Bruce and Alfred at the hospital after Alfred is stabbed by his old army friend. She then throws that friend that stabbed Alfred out of a window and kills him. Selina and Bruce try and find out who is actually in charge of Wayne Enterprises, and then she leads Butch to the Firefly gang, and she gets suspicious of Silver St. Cloud when she and Bruce get close in season 2. Selina helps Jim, Harvey, Alfred and Oswald to save Bruce from the Order of St. Dumas, and she takes Bruce to live on the streets for a while. Selina then breaks into Arkham to look for Bridget Pike, and after Pike attacks Selina, she tricks her into working together to get out. She then frees Jim, Lucius Fox and Bruce Wayne from Arkham, and she could be higher but doesn't have as much to do as the other characters left on the list. In 6th is Alfred Pennyworth. Alfred is played by Sean Pertwee, who does just a fantastic job in the role. He becomes Bruce's legal guardian after his parents are killed. He starts to teach Bruce how to fight, and then also forces Bruce to go back to school so he could be around kids his own age. Alfred encourages Bruce to beat up Tommy Elliot when he insulted Martha Wayne, and he holds off the assassins as they are going after Bruce and Selina so they can escape. Alfred's old friend Reginald Payne stays at the Wayne Manor but is secretly there to steal all the evidence that Bruce has on Wayne Enterprises, and then he stabs Alfred in the abdomen. Bruce finds his dad's lair behind the fireplace, and then Alfred helps Bruce make a bomb to blow open the metal door. Inside the lair was a computer, and Alfred smashes it because he fears for Bruce's life. Then Alfred meets with Lucius Fox in a bar and he agrees to fix the computer for them. Alfred stands up to Jerome Valeska and Barbara Keene when they hold the attendants hostage at a charity event, and Jerome Valeska is asking for Bruce Wayne. He also fights to get Bruce back off Theo Galavan and the Order of St. Dumas, and he has a fight with someone who goes by the name of Cupcake and eventually wins and gets the name of who actually killed the Waynes. He also fights Azrael as he is going for Bruce. In 5th is Theo Galavan. Galavan is played by James Frain and is sent to Gotham by the Order of St. Dumas to kill Bruce Wayne. He also orchestrated the Arkham breakout in the first episode of season 2, and he first entered the public eye at Gillian Loeb's retirement conference on behalf of Mayor James, who he secretly was holding hostage. He made Mayor James call his secretary and tell her that he had run away with someone. He also orchestrated Jerome and Barbara's hostage taking, and as Jerome has a knife to Bruce's neck, Theo stabbed Jerome and killed him so he looks like a hero. Galavan kidnapped Cobblepot's mother and threatened to kill her if he didn't obey his commands. He also becomes mayor, but Gordon starts to get suspicious of him, and he tries to buy Wayne Enterprises and claims that he has the name of who killed Bruce's parents in a folder, but when he gets arrested for the kidnapping of Aubrey James, he burns the files, and in court, Mayor James lies about who took him hostage and blames Penguin, so Galavan was freed, and Gordon hooks Galavan in the face, causing him to be taken by 2 dirty cops to an unknown hideout where Galavan appeared in front of him and taunted him. Then Galavan defeats Gordon in a fight and then goes to Wayne Manor to snatch Bruce. When the ritual of the Order of St. Dumas is foiled, Theo escapes with Tabitha and Silver, and Tabitha knocks out Theo and then gets the 2 of them out of there. Jim and Oswald take Galavan to the Southside docks, and Oswald beats him, and then Jim shoots him in the chest, and he is taken to Indian Hill. Galavan is reborn and Strange programs him to believe he is Azrael, and then Theo goes after Bruce, but outside Wayne Manor he is shot with an RPG by Butch Gilzean, and he would have been higher, but I think his stint as Azrael was quite uneventful. He probably should have been Azrael for a lot longer. In 4th is Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is played by David Mazouz, and in the pilot he witnesses his parents get killed, and then he blames himself for not doing anything, so he tries to conquer fear, and Bruce starts to train with Alfred so he can fight his own battles in the future, and he also starts to look into who killed his parents with all the files, which is the early showing of him becoming the world's greatest detective. Bruce agrees to let Selina live in Wayne Manor, and then he meets up with the Wayne Enterprises board to discuss the goings-on at Wellsine. He hunts down Reginald Payne after he stabbed Alfred and refused to throw him out of a window, so Selina did it instead. He then finds his father's secret lair behind the fireplace, and then Alfred breaks his father's computer and has Lucius Fox to fix it. He's held hostage by Jerome Valeska and Barbara Keene until Galavan stopped it and killed Valeska. And then Theo introduces Bruce to Silver St. Cloud and tried to get Wayne Enterprises off of Bruce for the name of his his parents' killer. When Theo is arrested, he throws the file into the fire, and Bruce is then kidnapped by the Order of St. Dumas until he's broken out by Oswald's group as they hunt for Galavan. He finds out that the person who killed his parents was Matches Malone, and then was going to kill him but decides not to, and then Malone kills himself instead. Bruce then starts to live on the streets with Selina. When Galavan comes back as Azrael, he hunts down Bruce but fails to do so and is blown up by Butch, and he is taken captive and then is interrogated by Enigma, find out what he knows about Indian Hill, but is then saved by Selina Kyle. In third is Harvey Bullock. Bullock is played by Donald Logue, and he is Gordon's experienced partner that goes to Fish Mooney for information and is also paid by Carmine Falcone. When corrupt citizens of Gotham are killed, Bullock is fine with it because he thinks that they deserve it, and then he also argues with Jim when he finds out that he didn't actually kill Oswald because it means Falcone will be looking for the both of them. In episode 6 we find out more about Bullock's past when he worked the case with Detective Dix and he was hunting down the spirit of the goat. Bullock goes to a meeting about fears when looking for Crane as he knows that he goes there. Bullock then saves someone who Crane tried to drown. Bullock is held hostage by Maroney and Fish along with Falcone, Gordon and Oswald. Bullock resigned at the start of season 2 because he didn't want to be seen doing traffic duty like Jim was. He started working in a bar and Jim tries to get him to come back after Loeb left, but he refuses to do so. But when Essen died, he returned and he saves Bruce from Galavan. Bullock tries to clear Gordon's name after Pinkney's death. He also broke him out of Blackgate with Falcone, and Bullock becomes acting captain when Barnes is stabbed by Azrael, and is really good as the opposite of Gordon at the start, and then we see them become partners over time. In second is Jim Gordon. Jim is played by Ben McKenzie and his first case is the Wayne murder and promises to Bruce that he'll find out who killed his parents. Gordon is told by Falcone to take Cobblepot to the pier but fakes killing him. Alan and Montoya start to investigate Gordon due to the disappearance of Cobblepot. He's close to being arrested before Oswald shows back up, and then Gordon is forced to work at Arkham Asylum where he met Lee and then is reinstated at the GCPD. He starts a relationship with Lee after him and Barbara argue and she leaves, and Gordon saves Barbara from the ogre after he has forced her to kill her parents. He becomes a traffic warden after season 1 and gets reinstated to detective after Loeb resigns, and Gordon tries to arrest Galavan but he gets out of it. Then Gordon kills Galavan, and Gordon is suspicious of Hugo Strange but is sent to Blackgate for the murder of Pinkney until he is broken out by Falcone and clears his name, then busts Strange and is reinstated as detective at the end of season 2. He's obviously the main character, and the only reason why he's second is because he is a tad boring in places in season 1. And in first position is Oswald Cobblepot. He starts as an umbrella boy for Fish Mooney, and that's where he gets the nickname the Penguin. He is told by Jim to never come back to Gotham. However, on his way back he kills a lot of random people, and when he returns he works for Maroney while secretly working for Falcone. When he is knocked out, he says in front of Maroney that he needs to see Falcone. Then Maroney nearly kills Oswald, but he gets out, which is the spark of the Maroney-Falcone crime war. And then Fish and Oswald fight, and then Oswald throws Fish off a cliff and announces himself as the King of Gotham. He tries to infiltrate the Galavan family, but it ends with Tabitha stabbing his mother, and then he's sent to Arkham for the kidnapping of Mayor James, but is released after being experimented on. When he's released, he finds his father and then moves in with him. When his father's wife and stepchildren kill him, Oswald kills them, and then Oswald is there when Butch kills Azrael at the end of season 2. He is in the top spot because the acting is great from Robin Lord Taylor, and we see him become the king of the underworld over time. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.